Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. If it's all right, what is this, the 27th? This is the 27th of November, 2016. If it's all right, I'd just like to maybe not to have any specific order of things, because I wanted to mention a lot of things. I wanted to mention where we're going, where we're trying to get to for this next cycle, but also wanted to mention a few little things that came up recently. Last Sunday, we all went over to our dear friends, and I wanted to incorporate some of what y'all wasn't here Tuesday, but we went over a little bit of what we thought about it, and we'd like to incorporate a little bit of it in that. So the thing we're thinking about right now is the priorities 2017, 18, and 19, and the themes. Priorities and the themes. And we believe that the last 23 years here has been preparation for what we get ready to do now. For instance, think back to all our studies and how tight our study program from A Street to here. Like we had special prepared lessons. You could tell that we had clipped, cut, paste, and did add our own addition. And every class, we had a specific lesson. All the lessons from family values, from hadith, dealing with literally all types of subjects. Family life, social life, etiquettes of Islam. We went through all of those. We even went through things like etiquette of hosting. We had believe it or not, all the tafsir classes from when we started them with the red book on Surah Fatiha. I don't know if y'all remember that. You remember that? That's a tight book, boy.
The whole book is Surah Al-Fatiha.
The whole book is on Al-Fatiha. It just gives Al-Fatiha a whole new, but it's deep. We have all of those lessons. And also we have lessons later on, Tafsir of Quran, where we would copy different. If we did Surah Baqarah from 1 to 5, ayat 1 to 5, we might have taken literally every tafsir that we had and, copied all of the commentary and translation and everything from each one of those, say from 5 different tafsir, and combined it in that lesson. And we would cover the specific points that we have, but we have each one of those lessons with its date on it. And we have all of those lessons. And we have some, we did like when we're in Surah Ali Imran, and we're dealing with Isa alayhi salam, and we're dealing with his mother and the birth of Esau. And we got literally every tafsir, and we got some nice spiritual tafsir too. And so it's this is when we realize the things like in the Bible, when Jesus meets John the Baptist, right? So John the Baptist baptizes Jesus. If you remember in the biblical stuff, because he's John the Baptist. Now, there's a question that come up, are you the one that we've been waiting for, or should we expect another? There's a question coming from, but now, when they meet, you would think that they just meeting, but they was first cousins.
Right.
Remember Elizabeth, and the Muslim commentary give a beautiful part about it, because when they're both pregnant, Miriam and Elizabeth, if I remember correctly, they both seriously pregnant. And so Elizabeth says to Miriam, I think my child in the womb is making prostration to yours. This is from Muslim commentary. Dr. Mahmoud Ayub, he's the blind brother. Yeah, he got some serious commentary. And you wouldn't know he was Shia from the commentary. Well, if you know what you're reading, you would know it. But and he only did 2 volumes of this commentary. One up Surah Baqarah, and it's the best because he only needed 2 volumes, because he bring about 8 tafasir for one passage, you know. Now we have all of those. The point I'm getting to is that we kept all of those, and we have a file. So for the last several months of being here, you know, my personal job was to develop a lesson plan for, you know, Islamic movement studies, you know what I mean, College of Islamic Movement Studies, you know, and strategic management under condition, all of that, you know. And so, it just hit me, I said, man, we got all the lessons already. That's what that period was for. Because the period we was teaching, the people we was teaching, remember, they all gone. But just remember the quality and the books that we went through. Hey man, by the time we finished it up, we had a better education than any of the, because I remember Brother Tufel used to say, I don't feel nothing about, you know, dealing with these sheikhs now. Why? Because if we went through, remember, we had went through a 15-year study period. And like these set of books here, Issues of Islamic Movement, in those days, if you studied, this one is from 82 and 83. They started 80, 81, 81, 82. Okay? So it was 7 volumes, went up to 87. Now, every one of them, usually the later ones had pictures of, like this Imam Khomeini, of course, Maulana Maududi, Imam Hassan al-Banna. And we studied stages of Islamic revolution. We studied all of those books. Imam Hassan al-Banna, Shaheed, Memories of Hassan al-Banna. This is Majmu' Rasail al-Imam al-Shaheed Hassan al-Banna, Majmu' from Jumma, collection, gathering of Rasail, writings of Imam Hassan al-Banna. We got all of them. We studied all the isnas and ixas and them stuff, and he was celebrating last time I saw him up at the UN. Training guide for Islamic workers. You know, yes.
When you tell my training guide, I'll never
Right.
forget in there, he said 1 + 1 numerically equals 2.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you have 1 + 1 with 2 people working on the same vibe,
Yeah.
it equals 11 people.
Yeah, it's the one with a donkey. Let me see if I can find that.
I got that at home. I still got
Yeah.
it.
Okay, we went through, what the point I'm making is, we went through literally that we were studying, preparing Islamic movement. Here they got all the pyramids and stuff, you know, of course we know. They don't think we know. But of course that comes from Ibrahim Maslow and all those guys. Once you study everything, you know where people get things, and you know where they well, anyway, it is, yeah, here it is, I think. This might be it. This is about the donkey. First, they got one donkey eating this pile of hay, they pull it against each other. And then they get tired. You can see they get tired. They're sitting there facing each other. Then they say, hey, let's do it one at a time. Let's knock this one over, then we knock that one over. That's about unity. That wasn't too bad, you know. But it has 1 + 1 = 2. But 1 + 1 + 1 = 111. So it's another idea of great expansion. The point, this one right here, the role of Islamic, the role of leadership in Islamic organizations. I'm gonna have a brother run some of these off. This is Lawi Safi. If you was watching TV 5 years ago, or if you remember a couple of times when we went out to Adams, he was one of the brothers out there. Okay, he's Syrian Ikhwan. Last time I saw him on TV was 5 or 6 years ago, when the Syrian Ikhwan here was going back to Syria to fight against the government. Okay, so, but they sweetie pie Syrian Ikhwan, because literally, we studied this is from 86, he wrote this. It's on management, leadership, and it's about the Islamic movement. And if you look through it though, you'll see all the scales and graphs that the Americans have. The management pyramids, all of that stuff. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is the sales system, you know, all of those systems of movement and organization. It was helpful, but we didn't tell them they were actually behind us at that time. They taught us this in ISNA in 1987. We spent the whole summer at ISNA headquarters in Plainfield, and we did the regular intensive Arabic. It was under the guise of intensive Arabic. Everybody that came there, and all the leaders that visited the class, literally all of them were Ikhwani types or Jamaat Islami types. Because, believe it or not, ISNA is all Ikhwani types. They are all Ikhwani types. Sweetie Pie, Ikhwan al-Muslimin, Jamaat. I have some lectures on it from Imam al-Qadi, one of the big folks. But all those people, if so,
when you call them Sweetie Pie, it's not. What do you mean by that term?
Okay, that means, for instance, they follow Ikhwan, they follow Imam Hassan al-Banna. Imam Hassan al-Banna was on his job. He was a real revolutionary. After 1956, they got 54, 55, 56. They got hit so bad, they was almost disseminated.
Yeah, no, that's when.
So they had to ease back.
That's when Nasser rolled.
Nasser just
Yeah.
rolled on.
Yeah.
Okay. Now they took the position. They had to take a quiet position. They was all, if they didn't, they was gonna be wiped out.
Yeah.
So they came back quietly, and quietly, and quietly, and they immigrated to Australia and other places. And they immigrated, a lot of them immigrated. When I was in Algeria, they was getting Ikhwan, or Egyptian professors and teachers to come to Algeria to teach the Arabic language. Why? 1845, Algeria was considered a suburb of France. A suburb of France. It didn't outlaw Arabic, but it made it the second language. French was the main. When I went to Algeria, I told some of the Arab brothers, hey man, teach me your language. You know what they said? This is exact, learn French. That's what they said. Yeah, so I started learning French. Because but later on, you remember the feasts and you remember the Islamic movement in Algeria, they all went to the penitentiary 10, 15 years, 20 years ago, and they threw out the election. When I went there, the Masjid were empty. Later on, by the mid-80s and 90s, there was 10,000 mosques. They'd been there all the time, but they were taken over by the Islamic movement. If you look at any photos of the brothers, the imams, they looked Egyptian. They had the Egyptian equine beard, because the professors in Egypt couldn't wear their beards and do nothing, and the French was so effective at destroying the Arabic language in Algeria that they spoke Arabic, but it was just like street. So it's like all of us, we got to now to teach the Queen's English, the King's English, right? I mean, we speak English, but I mean, to teach it and the way it's supposed to be spoken and pronounced, well, we pronounce it like I pronounce stuff. Yeah, I was talking to my mother or something, and something about a pocket handkerchief came up. You know, I said, she said, what is a pocket handkerchief? I said, a pocket handkerchief is a pocket handkerchief. So I was laughing and telling my mother, I said, my wife don't even know what a pocket handkerchief is. So my mother, you know, way old people would talk loud, wait, do you want me to spell it for you, honey? You know, yesterday. Everybody know when yesterday is, it's yesterday. But Negroes in my didn't pronounce it. Well, yesterday we did, they would say, yesterday we did this and here, and that.
Like what?
That, there.
Like what's that?
Huh? That's right, that's a triple positive. You know, in English you just say that. You don't say that, there, that. You don't say it. It just
what's
makes
that?
Just like a lot of people up here,
right.
they pronounce water. They pronounce the water.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want some water.
Yeah.
There's no R in the name. There's no R there. It's no water. It's water.
Yeah.
But everybody knows what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it goes.
In pronunciation, don't none of us from the country say Mary, we say Mary. Right? That's the proper pronunciation, Miss Mary. You know what I mean? And when I was, you know, we had all that oil over on 8th Street and we had kufis. So one of the brothers said, yeah, you got a myrrh? I said, yeah, I got myrrh. You know, the fragrance. So he's looking at the kufi. He said, no, myrrh. I said, yeah, I got myrrh. Sudanese myrrh, you know, Egyptian myrrh. I got all that. He said, no, myrrh.
You got a mirror.
A mirror. It's just Maryland, Northern Virginia, just the way people pronounce. I said, yes, I have myrrh. Myrrh. I said, I told you, look at all this myrrh. No. Myrrh. I said, okay. Somebody finally told me he wants a mirror so he can look at the damn kufi. I said, fine with me. And then I started listening. I said, yeah, people, that's the way they pronounce stuff around here. It was a little bit different. But that's what happened in Algeria. Algeria needed Arabic teachers in the late 50s and early 60s. Because even when I got there, certain streets, they was just changing the name of streets. The brothers used to go around and buy hashish on Rue de Douche Mourad. Okay, the last name Mourad is Arabic, but Rue de Douche.
That's French.
You know, Rue, that means the street where probably douche, water come down, like, or something.
Yeah, that's French. What year was the Battle of Algiers?
That movie, The Battle of Algiers?
Well,
The technical Battle of Algiers culminated, that was a period from 1954 to 1962.
okay.
Okay, now when I got there, all the bullet holes and everything was still all over the Kasbah. That's where that was a Muslim, the Muslim area. So that movie, in fact, I could copy it if anybody wants a copy of it and pass it. That movie 10 years ago was necessary for the people in the State Department to all view that movie, The Battle of Algiers. The Battle of Algiers, they gave it out. The Panther Party gave it out. It's made up, it's like a documentary, but it's it's real enough for everybody it showed the whole process of revolution and rebellion in Algeria. But there's a few things that they don't show in there. Number one, 53 was big for the French. I don't know if, salam alaikum, shukran. You remember the news, Dien Bien Phu, 1953 and 4. Dien Bien Phu. This is when the French got knocked over totally in Indochina, Vietnam. And this is when America took over the colonial struggle in Vietnam.
In the South.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, Ho Chi Minh at that, I don't know what I was supposed to get back to her. But anyway, the point is on studying, especially language. The French had destroyed the language, and the Egyptians came in as professors, but they also brought Islam with them. The feasts and all of them, because Islam was suppressed in Algeria. All the generals, after they had a great writing called Mujahid. And so the FLN, the nationalists, oh, you need this back, or you gonna give me the rubber band? Oh, thank you. I don't want to take you playing with it. I don't want to take your stuff. So anyway, you got to think that the French. First of all, let's get back to the language. People had to learn true Arabic. Coming along with the professors was Islam, because Islam had been suppressed in Algeria. Okay, after 1962, when the Algerians liberated themselves, the generals that was fighting for liberation, that was part of the Islamic movement, a movement that was all retired. And the nationalists, FLN, you probably remember the name Ahmed Ben Bella and all of those. Remember Malcolm used to, Ahmed Ben Bella was the president probably 64, 65 and all of that. And he got put out by Boumediene, who was the president when I was there. But the point of it is that Islam, you didn't see people rushing to the Masjid when I was in Algeria, like 70, 71 and all that. But if you went in a shop, you would see a man praying by himself. But the Ikhwan came, and they was teaching them real Arabic from Egypt. And then what happened was, as they taught them Arabic, they also insinuated the deen. So pretty soon, that's where the Islamic struggle come from in Algeria, and they had to suppress it. But anyway, we studied literally everything. This is the role of Islamic leadership and Islamic organizations. So technically, we have studied everything already. We have all of the outlines, we have all of the basic teachings, and we have literally all of what we need to do basically for now, except update a lot of the lessons that we have, strategic management under conditions of repression. We'll teach from this, but we'll just update and upgrade, you know what I mean? We just make notations, a couple of extra supplementary pages that upgrades from those days. This is 2008, but you would think it was today. So, the priorities, the themes, 2017, 18, and 19, the theme would be resistance. This resistance movement in North America. And B would be the National War of Liberation. First of all, as anybody that went to the meeting last week will see that there is no other resistance movement in the United States. There is not only no resistance movement in the United States besides us, but there's no one even thinking about or talking about resistance. When I'm talking about resistance, I'm not talking about rebellion, I'm talking about being incorporated into the American system. We'll go through a few of those things as we move along. We've been through all of this already, but now we have to upgrade 2017, 18, and 19. And these are the themes: resistance movement of North America, National War of Liberation. Remember, this National War of Liberation has to deal with all aspects of liberation. The first aspect is mental liberation. We have to free the minds, liberate the minds of the Muslims in America from inferiority complexes. This has been true then, it's true of black people, it's true of all people who've been conquered or dominated by another, and they've been subject to their media, their beauty standards, their social standards, their success standards, failure standards. All those things have to be upgraded and revived. And so we have to work on our own self-esteem. Esteem literally meant how you weigh and measure. It means to weigh and to measure. So self-esteem is how you weigh and measure yourself. Self-esteem relates to how we see ourselves, and how we see ourselves, and the confidence and the surety we have for ourselves relates to how we feel about people like us. So we could see last week at that meeting, those people had no self-esteem at all. None. No matter what was going on, they don't have self-esteem. And they don't have no self-esteem in relation to Islam and Islam's ability to establish itself and to manage itself. They follow all of the Quranic visions of people who have poor self-esteem. You know, the people that show the promised land, they say we ain't going over that Jabareen over there. And in the Bible it said we saw ourselves as insects compared to them people. And they saw us the way we saw ourselves. They saw themselves as insects, flies, nets, all of that stuff.
Lightweight.
To them people, right? Lightweight. And those people saw them. The people out there last week didn't realize, when you see yourself like that, the cracker don't have no respect for you. Because that's the way you see ourselves. He may not like us, but he sure respect us. Yeah.
In other words, there is a standard for which they should uphold to. And when the cracker don't see them upholding to that standard, then they're relegated to gnats and flies.
That's exactly right. They relegate themselves to that. They choose. Remember, this whole thing is about choosing where you want to be. We're not pretending, and this is not a super motivational talk that we give every week in Juma. How you see yourselves, what you want to be, visualize, you know, all that. That stuff really works. That stuff really works. You picture what you want to be like, and then you set your goals to get, and how you're going to get that. That's all it is. Once you see what it's going to be like. Now, other people, they have a course correction to make, because they off course. But we're not off course. All of this stuff is on course. Only thing we have to do is we have a course adjustment. See, all of our stuff is correct, but we have to adjust a little bit to upgrades, modern times, some different things that happened over the last 10, 12 years. So we have to adjust and modify, but we're on the right course. So only thing we have to do in our moving forward is to remember that you automatically, if you're on a course, there's winds come against you, there's waves come against you, you know, there's environmental circumstances that have some push and pull on you. You can't avoid it. So we have to adjust our course. But of course, correction is when you just off course. These people, our brothers out there, they're off course. Yes.
You know, it reminds me of another analogy you used about the Super Bowl.
Right.
You said the goal, some people have the goal to get to the Super Bowl.
Right.
But other people have goals to win the Super Bowl.
Win the Super Bowl.
Well, see, those people out there you talking about, they just want to make the playoffs.
That's right.
You know, as long as they get in the playoffs, then they feel that they succeed. They ain't even thinking about Super Bowl, the really big game.
They are happy to be here in America. They have won.
Yeah, that's true.
So we always talked about